be a good Muslim. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new program of Youth Talk. Today's topic is calling others to Islam. And to call others to Islam is a sign of your sincerity. You are sincere. You have this love and great urge to call others to your faith and religion because you love all the goodness to them. That is why you're calling them to Islam. In Islam, if we call people to our religion and they convert or revert to Islam, we don't get any financial aid or benefit out of it. It is solely for the pleasure of Allah. It is solely to salvage their souls, to rescue them, to save them from being thrown into hell because of their belief, providing that our belief is the most authentic and the correct belief there is. And that is why we have to call others to our religion. And to do so, there are so many means of doing so, but I would like you to ask me questions regarding this topic and subject, because I know that a lot of boys and girls have their inquiries and doubts about this area. Do we have to do it? Is it a must? Can't we just live by and let them worship whoever they want to worship, and we worship whoever we want to worship without any mixing or conversation in such topics? This is what I would like to hear from you about, and we will try, inshallah, to elaborate on this topic as we go on answering these questions. So, does anybody want to ask? Yes, Ahmed.
Yeah, I just want to ask, what do you think the best approach or the best way that one should take, in your opinion, to attract someone to Islam, but without being too pushy? I mean, the best way to bring someone to love Islam.
So, let me turn this question to you again. What is the best way, in your opinion, to call someone to Islam?
I think by being a role model. I mean, by your actions.
I think I completely agree. I think the best way to call people to Islam is to be a good Muslim. See, if you don't lie, if you don't cheat, if you don't harm people, if you are kind to people, if you're loving, if you're generous, if you help others without them asking you to do so, if you love everything that is good to happen to them, then inevitably everybody will love you, and they will like the way and your style. So they would ask, why is this particular person that looks in a particular way different than us, or even if he's similar to us, why does he do this? Where does it come from? And once they start asking questions, this is your way to make da'wah for people. And this is not only for the sake of da'wah. See, a Muslim is obliged to practice Islam. And by practicing Islam, he is propagating Islam. This is da'wah. So if you pray 5 times a day, and if you don't lie or cheat, then you are a good Muslim, then you are a good example. And there are so many ways of propagating and calling others to Islam, but the best way is to be an example of the practices and the teachings of Islam. Of course, there are other means, but it depends. You have to tailor it according to the situation you're in. Some folks are encouraged when they are given money. So you may give them money not in the means of buying them. No, if they need a helping hand, if they need something, you give them a gift. And a simple gift opens a lot of closed doors. Others, you may have to sit with them and talk with. But even your discussion should vary according to the people you're talking to. Some people, you have to talk in a very scientific way. Give them proofs from the Quran, from the Sunnah, scientific proof. Others may just like to think of it in a logical sense. A lot of people would probably need to be convinced through a historical process. Some, you may have to be a bit aggressive, meaning that you may have to show them that the religion they're believing in is not authentic, and you have to study their books to prove to them that, listen, it's said here so and so, and it's contradicted in another verse or another place, then this means that your religion is not true, not authentic. Okay, stage 2, let's look for a better religion, and so on. So it varies. Sometimes people are convinced of Islam through reading, and this is the case in the West. A lot of the people in the West like reading. So give them suitable books, leaflets that they would find enriching and that they would learn more from. Others may like to listen, so invite them to a conference, to a lecture, give them a cassette, or give them a video cassette so that they could listen and watch at the same time. But remember that the material is very important. So it is not always the best way to go, attacking people, because it's human nature. If you come and criticize or ridicule the things that I believe in, immediately there's going to be a partition between you and me. I'm not going to listen to anything that you say, even if it was right and logical. So that is why you always try your best to be in the positive side. So don't attack people. Just tell them that your religion is a good religion. It has so and so and so and so features which are nice. My religion shares the same characteristics, but we have an extra mile that we do this and this and this and this. We think that this is authentic, and you can go on. But don't go on criticizing their religion, because they will not accept your religion, although it is the authentic religion as we believe in it. They will not accept this. So I think, inshallah, this answers your...
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Second question, please. Sharif.
Is there a kind of preparatory knowledge for the ayah? There's an ayah in Surah Yusuf that says that, its meaning, literal meaning, that Allah orders Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to call people for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and call people for Islam on basira, or in a course of basira. What's this kind of basira?
Well, basira could mean vision, could mean insight, could mean that you call people on a platform that has light on it. So you don't call them on shade or in darkness. A da'iyah, and da'iyah means a person that calls people to what he believes. He's not a preacher. Every Muslim is a da'iyah, because he calls people. He wants to get a lot of people to believe in his religion and belief. So a da'iyah, there are no qualifications for a person as such to have a certificate or to be a graduate. No, to be a good da'iyah, you have to be a good Muslim and to have the knowledge and logic. But does this mean that I may not call others to Islam until I'm a scholar? Of course not. If you only know one hadith, you have to try your best to convey it to others, to tell it to others, so that they may get the knowledge of it. Because they may understand from that hadith what you did not understand. But being a mean of conveying this message makes you a da'iyah. So definitely, to be a good caller to Islam, a good da'iyah, you have to have knowledge. And the knowledge, it's word, maybe we will gonna go into knowledge later on, inshallah. But knowledge is the knowledge of the Quran, the knowledge of the Sunnah. You have to know what you're preaching, and the knowledge of the status of the person you're calling. So you have to know his background. You don't go to people in the jungles of Africa and talk to them about the scientific aspects of geology and astronomy in the Quran. The guy is going to cook you alive and eat you. So, and you don't go at the same time to the West and start to talk to them about things that does not relate to their society. You have to talk to every group of people with the way that attracts them and makes it acceptable to them. This means that you have to have the knowledge of the person you're talking to, the society. You don't go to the West and talk to them about the dangers of women driving cars, because they're doing that. Yeah, at the same time, I don't go to Saudi Arabia and talk to them about something that is not accepted in their culture, though it is in their religion, depending on the society and the culture of the people. So you have to have this knowledge. And the more you know your religion, the more it's easy to convince others. But if you're not convinced with it, you will never be able to convince people. See, the first thing is to have your own knowledge within of the Quran and Sunnah, not for the sake of da'wah. And remember, this is a very important issue. A lot of people read the Quran, read the Sunnah, for the sake of being a da'iyah, a person who calls to Islam. And this is wrong. You should do this for the intention of acquiring knowledge for the sake of Allah, that helps you to worship Allah on a basira. And from there, you start to call people. But to have it reversed is wrong, because then your intention is not completely and solely for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. That is why the knowledge required is the knowledge of the Quran, the knowledge of the Sunnah, and the knowledge of the status of the person you're calling, plus patience, plus wisdom. And hikmah, wisdom, is defined as putting the right thing in its place. So you have to know when to say and what to say. You don't call someone to Islam, a non-Muslim, and the first thing you start with is, wow, your nails are long. In Islam, it's prohibited to have long nails. This is not the right way of doing it. The guy is listening to music or doing something, and you say that you have to stop this now. The first thing you do is call them to Allah, and I think we will come to this, inshallah, after we take our break. So be with us. We will be back, inshallah, in a jiffy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Brother Ayman, I think you have a question.
Well, a question in my mind now, is da'wah, giving da'wah a must? I'll take myself as an example. I have a limited knowledge in Islam, so I would love to give da'wah, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I fell in an argument with someone, I'm not sure if I'll be able to continue the conversation or the da'wah.
Okay.
So.
Well, da'wah is a must. Calling people to Islam is a must. But again, this is not something you're going to put in your diary or your agenda for today. Okay, today I'm going to meet 6 people. I'm going to call them to Islam, then I'll call it a day. No, it's not like this. You're making da'wah by being a Muslim and seeking all the opportunities possible, all the opportunities that are possible in front of you, and to utilize it for da'wah. Now, you said something about having a limited knowledge. All of us have this limited knowledge. No one can sit and say, listen, I have the knowledge. I don't need any extra. So the more you live, the more you learn. So you have to call people to whatever knowledge you know. So for example, if you believe, and this is the first thing that a Muslim believes in, is that there is no God but Allah. So this is enough. Call people to worship Allah alone and not to associate any other with Him. You don't have to go into details. This would be your milestone, and this is good enough. If you have a little bit extra, then share it with others. Okay, what happens if you are in the dilemma of being asked questions and you don't know the answers? Simply say, I don't know. It is not permissible for you. It is one of the major sins to answer a question in religion without having the knowledge of it. So if somebody tells you intoxicants, wine, whiskey, whatever, is it forbidden or not? You know this. So you say, yes. There's no problem in doing so. But if someone tells you using anesthetics in a surgery or an operation, halal or haram, you don't know? Say, I don't know. This doesn't make you small. On the contrary, people would appreciate this, and they like this, because now you are showing them that you are a man of knowledge. The things you know, you say, I know. The things you don't, you say, I don't. I forgot. I have to ask. Give me a short time to go and get the answer for you. So don't be afraid. Yani, look at the others. Look at those who preach their religions of other denominations. When they come to you and ask you questions, ask them a few questions about their own religion. And I can give you a list of the questions to be asked to them. You will find them, hopeless and helpless. They don't have the means to answer it. So they're either they're going to say the wrong things, or they're going to say, I don't know. And usually they would try to wrap it up and say, well, I think the answer is this and this and this, and it's not. Just to get themselves out of that situation. In Islam, it is forbidden completely to say something and that you don't have knowledge of. So call them with the knowledge you have. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً, convey even one ayah to the others. That is more than enough. So if you have more than one ayah, one verse, then that is even better. And the more you propagate, the more you send away messages of the Quran and Sunnah, the more knowledge you gain. Because this is the only thing that if you spend, you get more. It's like money for charity. The more you put money for charity, the more Allah will repay it for you, and you will find out that your money is being increased. And this is, I know in Wall Street and Dow Jones, they don't believe in this. Say, well, if you spend money, you get more money. No, that is what we believe. If you spend one dinar, Allah will give you back in this life, not in the hereafter. In this life and in the hereafter, He will reward you more and more. It is enough to know that the blessing that Allah puts in one dinar might be more than the blessing He puts in 100,000. So if you spend half of what you own on charity, and Allah Azza wa Jal will put the blessing on the remaining half, it's better than saving like triple or double that amount without spending it, and Allah would remove the blessing. One illness, one operation could take it all. And on the other side, Allah would bless this dinar that it would be enough to feed the whole family and to get whatever you want from this world. So you do with the best knowledge you have, that would be more than enough. Allah Azza wa Jal will be pleased with that. If you were faced with a question you don't know, simply say, I don't know. And Imam Malik ibn Anas, one of the four prominent imams of the four schools of thought in Islam, said that La adri, I don't know, this is half of knowledge. So the other half is learning the Quran and Sunnah, but half of the other half of the knowledge is I don't know. And once a guy came from Uzbekistan or whatever, and he came to him with 40 questions. He came to Imam Malik ibn Anas in Medina with 40 questions. He answered 4. And the remaining 36, he said, I don't know. And he is the Imam. So the guy said, listen, I traveled almost a whole month on horseback with these inquiries from my people. And you answered only 4. What should I go and tell them? What do I go back to and tell them? He said, tell them that Imam Malik does not know. It doesn't mean anything. It's not degrading himself. He simply doesn't know. And it's easier for you to say, I don't know, and neglect that question than going at the Day of Judgment and being punished for saying something and answering the wrong questions. I hope this answers it. Any more questions, please?
The people I talk to, they believe in God, but
Okay.
they don't believe how he just, how he came, you know? Because the way they see it is like someone had to come before him. Astaghfirullah azim, you know?
Okay.
Someone had to come before him because, you know, that's the way life is, you know? Like you have a father and then, you know, he gets a son and then another son. That's the way life is.
These people, it's very easy to convince because they're easier to convince than some of the Christians and the Jews, because they share half of what we believe. You know, in Shahada, we say, La ilaha illallah, there's no God but Allah. They share the half, there's no God. So we would just convince them that, illallah, except God, Allah. It's very easy just to get things together. Don't go into long discussions. Go by the book, you know, back to square one. Go by ABCs. Tell them, does God exist or not? They will say no. Or yes, but not in the form you believe in. So try to refer to the things that they see. Sometimes your vision is limited. You cannot see the unseen. Us, we Muslims, we can see the unseen because it is so clear for us. We don't see Allah, but we believe in His existence because we can see it in our life. We can see it in our body structure. We can see it in His magnificent creations. And for example, no one can create an eye. See, no matter how modernized the technology is, they cannot create one eye. So imagine how many eyes do we have on Earth nowadays. If we have 6 billion, multiply by 2, that makes it 12 billion eyes that is existing at the moment. And how many eyes are being, you know, produced in the wombs of the pregnant mothers? Let's say another billion. And these are only the eyes of what? Of human beings. Okay, let's look at the eyes of the ants, fish, birds, animals. And this is one single thing. Now, you mean to tell me that these things were created without a God? Or it were, you know, evolved like this from a Namibia or from a cell? Or this is pathetic. Imam Abu Hanifa once had an appointment with a bunch of atheists who did not believe in God. So he gave them like at 4 o'clock, and he came at 5. So they told him, Imam, what took you so long? So he said, well, actually, I did not find any transportation to cross the river. But all of a sudden, you know, 600 trees, all of a sudden were chopped down, and they were transformed into wood, and this wood just came up and made a whole ship, and I went on board that ship, and it steered itself across the river, and I came. And the guy said, man, you're crazy. We made a big mistake by coming in to talk to you. This is nonsense. He said, well, this is your argument, guys. You're saying that no one created this world, no one created these humans, no one is running the universe, it's just running by itself. No one would ever believe in this. So it is logical. Once you go to the basic, prove that there is Allah. If they agree and approve of it, then prove that this religion is what Allah has given us. You have to prove that the book is false proof. It has no loopholes and no where to, and you can say that this is wrong. It can't be from the divine, from Allah. I know that there are so many things to discuss more, but unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today's program. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.